I've gone and got myself a running coach, and in this video I'm going to tell you why, as a new runner, I've decided to switch to a running coach and why the Runner app just wasn't cutting it for me anymore. Let's get into it. Let's dive into why. I'll give you a breakdown as to why and give you 5 key reasons that I've made the change. Now, of course, guys, I am a very new and beginner runner, and you may be thinking a run coach is fairly elite, but let me explain to you the reasons why. Now, I don't think I'm ever going to make Team GB, and I'm aspiring to be an average runner at best, but I still think I've made the right decision. Let's start with a little bit of background before we dive into my 5 reasons why. I started running in March 2025, and like so many people, I got into running as a way to improve my physical and mental health, and I started with the Couch to 5K app. I can't sing its praises enough. It did so much for me, and once I graduated the Couch to 5K plan, I, again, like so many of you, moved on and I created a runner plan, given that my new goal that I'd set myself was to work myself up to being able to achieve my first ever half marathon, which is now less than 3 weeks away. And if you want to watch my training as we approach the first half marathon, link to the playlist up here. Runner's been great, but one of the main reasons that a lot of the things I'm going to break down today gravitate around is Runner sells itself as a bespoke training plan. And although it offers so much, that is not technically true. Runner uses AI and it offers so much and has been fantastic for me, but what it can't do is offer the level of flexibility I need, which we're going to dive into. Runner will allow you to move the day of certain runs, but it gives you the set amount that you've agreed to a week, and those sessions are set in what they are, and you can choose which ones to do and which ones not, which is fairly limiting if you're like me and you have things like life, kids, work, responsibility, etc. Having to kind of guesswork myself which ones to do and which ones to not, which can become really constricting, and it doesn't offer the level of freedom and adaptive training that I think I need to keep progressing. Don't get me wrong, it is great, and it will look at the runs you do complete through the app and use the pacing that you hit versus the targets to keep updating your plan, which really will keep pushing progress and keeps it dynamic. But overall, I've got 5 key reasons that I feel like I need a bit more than what Runner can offer me. Let's dive into it with the first of 5 reasons that I've decided to go with a running coach. Couldn't think of a catchier title for it or one that added a bit more context, but just life. Life is the first reason, and let me explain why. Guys, life can be busy. If you're anything like me, you've got work commitments, personal commitment, work, fatigue, injury, all that stuff. So many external factors in your life outside of running that can really have an impact on your training. And although Runner lets you reschedule sessions, as I mentioned previously, it doesn't give you the facility to, let's say if I have a week where due to work and some responsibilities as a dad, I can only get 1 or 2 runs in. It doesn't tell me which one's optimal for my training. It doesn't rebalance the week based on the amount of training sessions I can do, just the amount I've told it I want to do weekly. And this is something that I could really do with. And in my 22-week training plan, and yes, I am the crazy guy who entered a 22-week training plan for my first ever half marathon, if I had a week where maybe I got a bit sick or some of the other external factors that could come in and I could only get 1 run done, as a new runner, I don't know whether I should prioritize the long run, the tempo interval session, the easy run, and that's where I thought it really fell short and where I could do with a bit more. As someone very goal orientated, if I couldn't achieve the 3 runs I'd agreed to and that were on the plan for the week, I felt like I'd failed and I was behind in my training. And of course I know that's not true, but we all have those little demons niggling away at us. And I found that very tough and frustrating, and being able to liaise with a coach and work with them on restructuring the week, kind of real time, live as things happen, and reassess what's going on is huge for me. And that's something I'm really looking forward to as an extra benefit of working with a coach. Being able to talk to a person and say, right, I've got this and this going on, I can only achieve 2 runs this week, and then getting some feedback on that and working with them and them telling me which runs to do, or maybe rebuilding the week and the runs I'm going to do to stay aligned with my goals, I think is a huge added benefit that's made the switch from runner to a run coach certainly one that I'm willing to make. And I'm looking forward to being able to have more conversation and engagement and adaptiveness to the plan as I work towards half marathon and marathon distance, which is the next goal. Reason number 2 is feedback, and I love feedback. And as you've noticed, I also love to talk, which is why when I run out of people to talk to about running, I'll stand in front of a camera and waffle onto you, as you're probably very familiar with if you watch this channel. Being able to discuss my sessions afterwards and touch base, talk about which ones felt good, which ones felt bad, have some really dynamic feedback around how the sessions went and how my body's adapting and how the pace targets went, and then that plugging directly into my plan with kind of the human element is a big one for me. So being able to talk to someone kind of real time and the feedback is massive. Obviously, the Runner app has kind of an AI feedback feature, but ultimately what that does is it looks at your paces versus your actuals, and once you've read it once, you've read it 50 times. I found myself towards the end, I wasn't even paying that much attention to it, but being able to really talk about how certain sessions felt, which ones feel better than others, and then my plan kind of adapt for that and build on my weaknesses based on the feedback. That to me is another level that's really going to help with my training. Reason number 3 is injury. As someone who's recently joined the ever-growing club of people who have injuries while running and really don't want to stop running, having someone who I can talk to real time and discuss the injury that I've got and then have my plan adapt around that, I think is going to be a game changer. Real time working with a coach and having that full kind of live control over my plan is going to be massive, and I think not only will it help me kind of prevent injury, it'll certainly help me grow and work on my weaknesses as well, which is just going to A, stop me getting injured, and B, keep me working towards my goals. Running for me personally is more of a mental health thing than a fitness thing, and although I love both, certainly the primary for me is what running does for my headspace, my confidence, my mental health, and being able to work with someone real time rather than the guesswork of a structured set plan. And should I do the run? Should I do a different run? Being able to actually work with someone, explain how my body's feeling, and then give me feedback and help me adapt is going to be massive, and it's going to help me get stronger and avoid injury. But also for me, being able to listen to my body and someone who's an expert be able to give me feedback may actually prevent me getting like fully injured and take something that is a bit of an irritation and get in front of it and keep me training before it comes a full-blown injury, which will also mean I'm not going to spend 6 weeks stuck on the couch when I could be running, because aside from the fitness element and working towards my goals, my headspace doesn't want that. So being able to really work with someone on the impact the training's having on my body and make those changes is a key element for me. Point number 4 is education. Let me try and explain this one because it may not make too much sense. I'm pretty sure I'm not alone when I say this, and I'm pretty sure it's fairly obvious given that I stand in front of a camera and try and waffle about this stuff to YouTube, but I have fallen in love with running, as I'm sure a lot of you have. It's a huge passion of mine, and I'm sure you can all share this, that when you're passionate about something, you have a hunger to kind of learn more and absorb as much information as possible. And I'm sure my missus will agree with you all in the YouTube comments that she is bored stiff of me talking to her about running. And that's purely because of how passionate I am and how hungry I am to learn more about this thing that I've fallen in love with, has become a big part of my life. Having a coach that I can kind of ask questions to and absorb information from and learn from, for me, is a must, and one of the biggest, if not the biggest selling point of working with a runner coach over using Runner the app. When I met with who is now my running coach, when we had our kind of introductory call, probably the thing that certainly sealed the deal for me was it wasn't just about the runs and the sessions, it was him kind of talking to me about how he works with runners on motivation and fueling and nutrition and the best sports shoes and everything else, and all of these kind of offshoots that link into running and are connected, that really got me passionate about working with him and that I'm super, super excited about. I just can't get that from Runner, and there are other sources and forums and things, but this ultimately is why I went from Runner to working with a running coach and having an expert in their field who I can use for advice and explain to them some of the problems I have with running, and then offer them advice and things for me. Not only will make me a better runner, but it's going to make me learn as well. And especially if my long-term plan, which it is to help you guys learn from the mistakes I make and along the way, then the more information I can absorb, the better for all of us. The last of the 5 reasons that I've noted down, but by no means least, is the accountability that working with a coach will bring. I'm pretty sure a lot of you will agree, but for me, accountability is huge, and it's certainly a big driver for me when I want to achieve something. I can count on one hand the amount of times by my own free will I've been in a gym in the last 15 years, and that's not an exaggeration. And the only time within that period that I've been dedicated and actually got myself into good shape and seen some serious progress is when I work with a personal trainer. During that period, I was there 3 times a week. I was passionate for the sessions. I was getting stronger. I was learning, and I was really hungry to keep going. And for me, the accountability of working with another person who's helping me achieve my goals really keeps me driven to stay on track, and not just with the task at hand, which could be the running plan or the gym, but also a lot of the external factors as well. While I'm kind of really dialed into working on the fitness side, my nutrition stays in check. So just having someone keeping me accountable for me is one of the most powerful tools in my arsenal when it comes to training. Right guys, there you have it. Those are some of the key reasons that I've decided to go with a running coach and cancel my subscription to the Runner app, and I cannot be more excited. Obviously, a huge factor here is also cost, and we've all got to work within the means we've got, and I'm blessed to be able to afford a run coach. But one thing I would say is go and look for local run coaches if you're kind of considering it, because the price difference was certainly nowhere near as much as I expected it to be, and you also may be pleasantly surprised. Given how much of a focus running and training and fitness has taken in my life, I'm seeing this as a seriously worthwhile investment for my progression, both physically and mentally. Just to stress before we wrap this up, I have nothing against Runner. I've spent almost 6 months using it and achieved incredible things, from taking minutes and minutes off my PBs to learning about different types of sessions. And I would absolutely say there is a place for everybody using Runner, and it is a massive, incredible resource that everyone should investigate if you're not using it already. And there's nothing wrong with using it till the rest of time. There are infinite, incredible runners 10 times better than me using it, and people just starting out their journey, and I wouldn't be where I am today without that app. So this isn't a don't use Runner, this is about why I've gone from Runner to using a run coach. If it's something you want to see, do let me know below, and I can let you know my initial and more long-term feedback after working with the coach. Those videos I can make if you enjoy this one. Let me know below if you want to see that. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Appreciate you as always for watching me stand here and talk absolute amateur running nonsense. Check out the other videos. The support on the channel has been amazing, and I will see you in the next video.